The American Civil War is one of the most studied conflicts in history. Today, we'll uncover 10 fascinating Civil War facts that you probably didn't learn in school. Our first fact takes us underwater, literally. In February 1864, the Confederate submarine H.L. Hunley made history by becoming the first submarine to sink an enemy ship. Armed with a spar torpedo, the Hunley struck the USS Housatonic near Charleston, South Carolina. But this victory came at a devastating cost. Moments after the attack, the Hunley itself sank, taking its 8-man crew to the ocean floor. For over 130 years, the exact cause of its sinking remained a mystery, until it was finally recovered in 2000. Today, the Hunley rests in a museum, a testament to the Confederate Navy's desperate innovation. War is often depicted as a clash of armies on the battlefield. But for Civil War soldiers, their deadliest enemy wasn't bullets, it was disease. In an era before antibiotics and germ theory, unsanitary camp conditions turned minor wounds into deadly infections. Diseases like dysentery, typhoid, and pneumonia swept through the ranks, killing 2 soldiers for every one lost in battle. To put this into perspective, while Gettysburg claimed around 50,000 casualties in 3 days, disease silently killed hundreds of thousands over the course of the war. It's a grim reminder of how unprepared humanity was for the scale of modern conflict. Decades before airplanes dominated the skies, the Civil War saw the rise of aerial reconnaissance, using hot air balloons. Thaddeus Lowe, a Union aeronaut, led the Balloon Corps to spy on Confederate troop movements. These massive balloons, tethered to the ground, gave Union generals a bird's-eye view of the battlefield. While the Confederates attempted their own balloon experiments, the Union's superior resources made their efforts far more impactful. In many ways, these floating giants paved the way for modern aerial surveillance. The ingenuity and bravery of the balloonists who soared above the battlefield continue to inspire those who study the art and science of warfare. Did you know that Arlington National Cemetery, the final resting place for thousands of American soldiers, was originally the home of Robert E. Lee? This historic site, now a symbol of national sacrifice and honor, has a deeply ironic and poignant origin story. When Lee chose to lead the Confederate Army, the Union government seized his family estate as a symbolic punishment. The estate, known as Arlington House, was strategically located on a hill overlooking the nation's capital, making it a prime target for Union forces. They began burying Union dead on the property in 1864, ensuring that Lee could never return without being surrounded by reminders of the war. This act was not just a practical solution to the growing number of war casualties, but also a calculated move to prevent Lee from reclaiming his home. Today, Arlington stands as one of the most solemn and iconic landmarks in the United States. But its origins remain tied to the bitter divisions of the Civil War. The cemetery spans over 600 acres and is the final resting place for over 400,000 military veterans and their families. The transformation of Robert E. Lee's estate into Arlington National Cemetery is a story steeped in symbolism and irony. The very land that once belonged to a Confederate general now serves as a hallowed ground for those who fought to preserve the Union. The cemetery's origins, rooted in the Civil War, underscore the deep and lasting impact of the conflict on the nation's history. Each grave at Arlington tells a story of sacrifice, duty, and the complex legacy of a nation divided and then reunited. The site serves as a powerful reminder of the costs of war and the enduring quest for peace and unity. The Civil War introduced America's first military draft, but it was far from popular. The Confederacy began conscription in 1862, followed by the Union in 1863. Both drafts sparked outrage, with accusations that the wealthy could buy their way out of service. In the Union, a $300 fee could secure a substitute, leading to riots in cities like New York. This controversy highlighted the growing class divide in both the North and South, where the poor often bore the brunt of the war effort. The Civil War drafts were a stark reminder of the challenges and complexities of mobilizing a nation for war. It's well documented that over 180,000 African Americans fought for the Union Army, many as part of the United States Colored Troops. These brave men not only fought for their freedom, but also for the future of their families and communities. Their contributions were crucial in many battles, and their courage and determination were a testament to their desire for a better life. But did you know that thousands of African Americans also served the Confederacy? This lesser-known fact reveals a different side of the Civil War, one that is often overlooked in history books. These individuals found themselves in a complex and often contradictory situation, serving a cause that sought to keep them in bondage. Most were enslaved individuals forced into roles like cooks, laborers, or musicians. They were compelled to support the Confederate war effort, often under harsh and inhumane conditions. Their labor was essential to the daily operations of the Confederate camps, providing the necessary support to keep the soldiers fed and the camps running smoothly. However, some did take up arms, though this was exceedingly rare. These instances were often the result of desperation or coercion, and these men faced immense risks and challenges. Their stories are a poignant reminder of the complexities of the Civil War and the difficult choices faced by African Americans during this time. Their service, often coerced, reflects the complex and tragic dynamics of race and power during the Civil War. The forced participation of these individuals highlights the brutal realities of slavery and the lengths to which the Confederacy would go to maintain its war effort. The service of African Americans on both sides of the Civil War highlights the complex and often contradictory nature of the conflict. It shows how African Americans were caught in the crossfire of a war that was fundamentally about their freedom and rights. It underscores the varied experiences and motivations of African Americans during this turbulent period and reflects the broader struggle for freedom and equality that continued long after the war ended. Their stories are a vital part of our history, reminding us of the resilience and strength of those who fought for a better future, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Identifying fallen soldiers was a heartbreaking challenge during the Civil War. Soldiers began inscribing their names on wooden tags, coins, or even scraps of paper to ensure their bodies could be identified if they were killed. These makeshift dog tags became so common that by World War I, the military adopted standardized identification tags, a legacy born out of necessity during the Civil War. The tragedy of unidentified soldiers was a harsh reality of the Civil War. The legacy of these makeshift dog tags carried forward into future conflicts. By World War I, the military had adopted standardized identification tags, recognizing the critical need for a reliable system to identify fallen soldiers. The chaos of war often drives innovation, and the Civil War was no exception. Amidst the turmoil and bloodshed, necessity became the mother of invention, pushing boundaries and fostering new ideas. With railroads playing a critical role in moving troops and supplies, the Union Army quickly realized the need for standardized timekeeping. The vast distances and the need for precise coordination made it clear that a unified system was essential. While time zones wouldn't officially be adopted until 1883, the groundwork was laid during the Civil War, as military and railway schedules demanded greater coordination. The synchronization of time became a crucial factor in the success of military operations and the efficiency of supply chains. This shift in thinking changed how Americans understood and measured time. The concept of standardized time began to permeate everyday life, influencing not just the military and railroads, but also businesses and communities. The logistical challenges of the Civil War necessitated significant advancements in transportation and communication. The telegraph, another critical innovation, worked hand in hand with the railroads to ensure messages and orders were delivered promptly. The experiences and lessons learned during the war influenced the development of time standards that would later be adopted by the railroads and, eventually, the entire country. This period marked the beginning of a new era in timekeeping, one that would shape the future of transportation, communication, and daily life in America.